Security Basics. This is the first in a series of courses on security. The material for this show comes from a variety of sources. Some from research, some from discussion with colleagues in policing, and some from my own experience. This course is not meant to cause you anxiety, but it should make you think. Security isn't an absolute. Different people have varying feelings of how secure they are, depending on their individual tolerances. Here's a reality check. If someone is determined to commit a crime against you, it's virtually impossible to completely eliminate the risk. The cost of security measures could be a limiting factor, but the inconvenience or hassle factor to you may limit your efforts. Basically, we want to keep our valuables either out of sight or make them seem unattractive or unattainable while trying to maintain a normal life. It's all a balancing act. Overall, you should think of security in layers like an onion. The more valuable things should be in the most secure places. You wouldn't leave your jewelry in the garden shed, but it's okay to leave your lawnmower there. It all depends on what an acceptable risk means to you. Roughly 30% of the population will seek out opportunities to steal, anything from petty theft to robbery or assault. Another 30% will steal if the opportunity is presented to them. The bicycle on the front lawn, a loonie on a desk, mail piled up in the mailbox of an unoccupied home. And almost half of us are honest and we won't steal, even if there is an obvious opportunity. Some physical security is necessary to defend against the determined thief. You know you can't completely protect yourself from these people, but you will want to take some steps to deter them with locks on doors, windows, lighting, and so on. Don't display treasure for the opportunistic thief. Keep mailboxes emptied, make the property look lived in, secure ladders if they must be kept outdoors, get rid of hidden keys to the house, and don't needlessly display things of value. You can eliminate about 30% of the population that will steal from you because you presented an opportunity. There are three basic approaches to security. Physical security, or physically securing a building or property, using the environment to deter criminals, and measures to protect ourselves. Physical security includes the locks and other hardware to keep the bad guys from your property. It's usually some physical barrier or could include security personnel. What you're doing is really target hardening. You're making it more difficult for a thief to enter your property. Thieves tend to seek out softer targets, much like a predator will seek out the young, the slow, the old, or the weak. Environmental security makes use of the natural environment to deter. This approach focuses primarily on increasing the likelihood they will be identified or caught, although creating a barrier is another goal. Your personal security can best be ensured through a proper mindset, some basic awareness and avoidance, and escape skills. Self-defense training and devices may help, but they may be a hindrance if they're absolutely relied upon during the chaos of an attack. A locked door may not keep out a determined thief, but it sure makes the job more difficult and increases the chances of being caught. A good deadbolt prevents someone from simply prying the door frame beyond the end of the bolt. 2 to 3 inch long screws on the backing plate bite into the solid wood framing of the wall, making it difficult to kick a door in. Devices are also available to keep sliding patio doors on their track, but sliding doors are certainly more vulnerable than a garden type of patio door. Locking windows is also a first line of defense. A dowel or stick may be used to keep the sliding window open, forcing the thief to smash the window to gain entry. Window bars may be used in the basement, but people still must be able to escape in the event of a fire. There are also window films on the market to prevent a window from being smashed in. Lighting makes it easier to see where you're going and to identify someone who doesn't belong. Use it to illuminate vulnerable areas, so a would-be criminal can be spotted. Fences, hedges, masonry walls, they all provide a physical barrier to keep intruders from gaining access to your property. Alarms are a deterrent and limit the time a thief will be able to remain on the property. Instead of having lots of time to ransack a home, they may only have a few seconds to grab and run. Cameras deter some thieves, while others may wear a disguise. If you choose cameras, some should be out in the open and some hidden. A dog can also be a deterrent. Even a small dog will bark, causing trouble for the criminal. Identity theft and other scams are on the rise. Shred documents that contain personal information. Don't advertise your new big screen TV by chucking the box out on garbage day. Break down the box before you throw it out. Think about what personal information you should post on social networking applications like Facebook. Use caller ID on your phone to weed out potential phone scams. Don't give out personal or credit information. The same goes for email. No bank will ever require your username and password to validate or update their files. Crime prevention through environmental design is using or enhancing the surrounding landscape and environment to make it less suitable for criminal activity. The first concept is natural surveillance. See and be seen. Make sure the property can be observed by the neighbors or passersby on the street. Trim hedges down to about 3 feet in height and prune tree branches up to about 5 or 6 feet to make it easy to see the property and more difficult for someone to hide. When installing a privacy fence, you may wish to consider foregoing some of the privacy so neighbors can see if someone's lurking. It's a balancing act between aesthetics, your privacy, and security. You can control somebody's movements to a degree by planting hedges, installing fences, walkways, and so on to make it easier for someone to approach the property from a predetermined direction. Most thieves won't want to stumble through a thick hedge or brambles if they can creep up alongside the house. Motion sensor or dedicated lighting could be integrated into the plan to protect chosen access routes. A well cared for property demonstrates ownership, pride, and a dedicated use, making it less of a target for thieves, vandals, and graffiti artists. Even a small hedge or a flower border makes a statement. This is mine and I'm proud of it. Many of us are too shy to confront a stranger, but simply staring at the person, observing their clothing and their physical characteristics, helps increase security by letting the would-be thief know, I see you and I can identify you. I'm aware. Physical and environmental security generally apply to buildings, vehicles, and the physical environment. Personal security is portable. You provide your personal security. The best victory is winning the battle that was never fought. Avoid a confrontation if at all possible. You may mistakenly say or do something regrettable, so avoidance is usually the best approach. If you can't avoid a confrontation, you should escape. It's better to feel like a fool than to be a victim. Trust your instincts. If you feel you're in danger, do what it takes to escape. As the police say, my safety first, your feelings second. Equally important, don't try to get revenge. Just focus on escape. Sometimes people are victims of crime partly because they weren't aware of cues that might have saved them trouble. Don't be paranoid, but you need to exhibit the appropriate level of awareness for the circumstances to avoid being a victim. The concept on this slide accounts for about 90% of your personal security. Using the color chart model, the lowest level of awareness is white. You might say you're switched off. This is appropriate if you're in the safety and comfort of your own home or another low-risk environment. The trick is knowing when to switch on and pay attention to our surroundings. Being absorbed in the music on your iPod is perfectly fine in a secure environment, but being oblivious on a darkened street isn't appropriate. Unless you're in a secure environment, you should be at the yellow level of awareness. In a public place, you should always be casually aware of what's going on around you to notice a potential problem. That means casually, but actively, looking around for trouble and potential refuge. Some say when driving a car, you should always have a plan in case the oncoming driver crosses the yellow line. Where will you go? Both our Harlow and Hancock buildings have controlled access, but visitors and staff have free rein of the building within our secure zone. We don't work in a dangerous place, but we should always be casually aware of the people around us and their actions. If you're concerned by a situation, you should prepare to avoid it and formulate an escape plan. This is the orange level. Maybe there are a couple of creepy looking people walking towards you across the street. Maybe you got a dirty look from someone passing on the highway. If your spidey senses are tingling, you should make plans now. It's guaranteed that the bad guys have already made their plans. In terms of developing a survival mindset, consider where you would run and what you would do before you ever need to escape for real. The red level means you're engaged. It's time to flee. The creepy guy just crossed the street. Someone's definitely turned their attention to you, whatever the case may be. Use your escape plan so you can just call it a close call. If you're wrong and the guy meant you no harm, the worst thing that happened is that your pride might be bruised a little bit. Decent people wouldn't put another person in a position where they would feel afraid. Remember, the bad guys have taken the time to stack the odds in their favor. They count on the fact that most people aren't aware and don't prepare for an escape. If you are in a situation where you must escape potential violence, escape and survival at all cost must be the only things on your mind. Your best chance of success is to make your decision early in the encounter. Once you've decided, your actions must be immediate, direct, and explosive in nature. You don't walk away, you bolt. Are you prepared? Money and things can be replaced, you can't. This is very similar to a home fire escape plan. In fact, if you were the victim of a home invasion and had the chance, your fire escape plan is probably your best course of action. Climb out the nearest window and run to the neighbors for help. This is the first in a series of education modules designed to raise your awareness of security and give you some ideas on how to ensure it. We hope you find it useful. Thank you for your interest and attention.